Predicting the New Orleans Saints 2025 win total. Ladies and gentlemen, tough conversation here because the New Orleans Saints are favored in only one game. That is against the New York Jets. So does that mean the Saints are going to go 1-16? I highly doubt it, but trying to find those other wins might be difficult on the surface. All right, the backdrop, the 33rd Teams Check the Mic podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the whole thing. Let's hear what they say, react along the way, and then I will kind of walk you through a couple of different simulations.
The South here, they're projected for the lowest win total, I believe, at 5.5. And yeah, I would still go under probably for the Saints. Not loving how the roster's feeling right now and where they're at.
Saints are a very unique situation, even for a fan, okay? Because from a fan's point of view, you got to feel pretty good about the core players coming back. And like I've said before, you get a lot of players off of injury last year, which is kind of like you're upgrading without actually adding players, right? Like Eric McCoy at center is an enormous upgrade over last year, even though Eric McCoy was on the roster last year, right? Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, enormous upgrade over Dante Pettis, MVS, Stone Cold Kevin Austin. All right. So you have that, but then you also have a complete unknown at the most important positions, just quarterback and coach. All right. Like we have no clue what Kellen Moore is going to be like as a head coach. We have no clue, number one, who will be the quarterback, but even beyond that, what it'll look like. We have no idea what Spencer Rattler with the starting lineup would be like. We have no idea what Tyler Shough will be like in the NFL. We have no idea what Hunter Deckers will be like in the NFL, right? So there is reason to be optimistic, and there is reason to think that this year will be better than last year, but there is still some serious question marks.
In this rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a quarterback now, right? Derek Carr retires. Their three-way quarterback battle between Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Shough does not exactly fill you with confidence. And various other bits of the roster are creaking. And there's trade rumors around Chris Olave. He could be traded somewhere else before the season starts as well, which would be there.
I'm not factoring that in. I'm just going to kind of focus on who's actually on the team. Now, he did mention that other parts of the roster are kind of like creaking. I don't really see that. I think the rest of the team is, I'm not going to say stable, but you got to feel pretty good about the rest of the team. You got to feel good about running back. You got to feel good about your offensive line. You got to feel good about your defensive line, or as good as you did going into last year. You have to feel good about your secondary, or as good as you did last year. Like, there's really not a position group besides quarterback where you're like, man, I really don't know what to think here.
Best receiver on his way out of town as well. So the only thing offsetting that is that the Saints have one of the easier strengths of schedule of anybody out there. So roster-wise, I think this is one of the worst teams in the NFL, and it's probably the worst quarterback situation. But they do have a pretty solid schedule that could.
I kind of agree with this and kind of disagree with this. Where I disagree is the idea that it's the worst roster in the NFL. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think the roster is that bad, especially at certain parts. I mean, the offensive line has a chance to be really good. The playmakers are all right if they are all there, right? Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara, Juwan Johnson. Is that great? No, but it's better than DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, Jalen Warren, and Mason Rudolph. You know what I mean? It's somewhere in the middle, I think. Now, where I agree is it probably is the worst quarterback situation just from the outside looking in going into the season, because it is a complete unknown. And you could say, well, so is Tennessee. Sure, but Tennessee also is the first overall pick. So you would assume there's a little bit more confidence in the player versus the 40th overall pick. It's just how it is, right? Like Cleveland, I think, is in a worse overall spot. But, I mean, those are some of the worst teams in the NFL, right? So I'm going to really try and give you a couple looks at the schedule of honestly how I think it can play out. And yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say 12 wins incoming or 11 wins loading, but it is a wild year to try and forecast as a fan.
It'd help if they're able to cobble together a good team.
Would you trade Olave if you're the Saints? Because there's definitely a part of me. I really like Chris Olave. Obviously, you have the concussion question marks and everything. There's a big part of me that would say, just think next year. Think 2026. See what you have in Tyler Shough. Maybe he's great. But if he's not, you're freed up to grab the next quarterback next year, whoever it may be. And both lines of scrimmage, playmaker. There's so many.
I made a video on this. I think for a first-round pick, you do it. A second-round pick, you think about it. A third probably isn't enough because you do have 2 years of very cheap control of the contract because of his rookie deal and the fifth-year option. So even if it doesn't work out, it's like, well, you still get 2 years of a really good player on a really cheap deal, which is exactly what you want for the Saints. So for a third, I probably don't do it. A first, especially Pittsburgh's first, it's like, that's a team that could be a top 10 pick, so you probably do it for that, but I wouldn't do it for a third and less.
So many needs on both sides of the ball here for the Saints.
I mean, it always depends, what the asking price is or what the trade offers are. And I don't like sort of talking this way when it comes to concussions because it's obviously a sort of sensitive topic and a weird thing to be dealing with. It's not like a regular leg break or whatever, but given his concussion history, I would be very wary about him as a player going forward from the Saints perspective. Like, can you rely on him? Number one, is he already in that Jimmy Garoppolo world where we should be looking to move on from him simply because of injury proneness? Number two, can you give him the next big contract based off that concussion history? Either way, like if somebody is willing to give me a significant draft pick for Chris Olave, I think just to get away from that risk, I would be willing to take it and move on from it.
Okay, so this is kind of wild. They go into a Skims commercial, and I thought they were going to come back and do the prediction. So the prediction is they're either going over or under. So he already said under the Saints 5 wins. So that's where he's at. So let's go ahead and look at the schedule. This is the schedule. We've done a video on the actual schedule release. We all know it, but we're going to kind of go back and forth here. So all right, the first 2 games are super important. I think you have to win one of the first 2 games. They're both at home. Arizona is a middle-of-the-road team. You can get them, I think. Now, a little bit of, this is high-level thinking, but Kyler Murray and that offense has a pretty good idea of what Brandon Staley wants to do defensively. So I would give the Cardinals a bit of an advantage seeing Staley's defense, especially Kyler Murray, so that could be kind of difficult. It's always hard at the beginning of the year for a team that's brand new just hit the ground running like the Saints. That's a completely new staff, completely new idea, completely new vision. Everyone's doing new stuff, young quarterbacks, no matter who it is. So it's a lot and I say you have to win those first 2 games because if one of the first 2 games, because if you don't, you are staring down an absolute gauntlet of at Seattle, at Buffalo. So if you don't win one of the first 2, you're probably going 0-4. And then you're back at home and you have to win one of these 2 between the Giants and the Patriots, 2 of the weaker teams. Now the Giants, if they have Russell Wilson, that's certainly a huge step up from, Cutlets or whoever we've seen in the past few years. And then the Patriots, a much improved New England team. And then the schedule, then you got to go on the road to Chicago. Then you're playing the Bucs. On the road, the Rams, on the road with the Panthers, bye week, a much-needed bye week at that point. So, and then, like I said, the only favorite team or the only favorite game is you're favored by 1 against the Jets. All right, now, a lot of that will change as far as, like, who's favored, who's the dog, all that. But as of right now, the only game that we are expected to win is this Week 16 Jets game. But even that, you're only favored by 1 at home. So, all right, so my first run-through, I say we beat Arizona, surprise them in week. Wait, what are we doing here? Let me reset this. All right, let's go to week 1. Saints, Arizona. Say we beat Arizona. Okay, then we play San Francisco. Say San Francisco wins. Week 3 is the Seattle game. We're going to go Seattle wins that. Buffalo wins week 4. Week 5, we come back against the Giants. I'm going to say we beat the Giants, lose to the Patriots. At that point, I think Vrabel will probably have them rolling. Week 7, we're on the road to Chicago. Winnable game, but still on the road. But I do think that's a winnable game. I think for this one, let's give the Saints a win. Then let's go. All right, Bucks win this one. Or let's go back. I'm gonna give us. All right, let's say the Bucks win that one. Week 9, we have the Saints against the Rams. Rams win that one. Panthers. I'll give the Panthers that one. It's on the road. Saints. Week 11 is the bye week, right? Week 12. Saints, Atlanta at New Orleans. I'll give New Orleans that one. New Orleans at Miami. I'll give Miami that one. Week 14, we're at Tampa. Give Tampa. Week 15, we are playing the Panthers at home. I say we get that one. Week 16, this is the Titans, right? Where are the Saints? Week 16. Oh, those are the Jets. Okay, Jets at home. I say we win that one. Week 17 is the Titans. Yep, we're on the road to Tennessee. Say Tennessee gets that one. Week 18, we get the Falcons on the road. So the Falcons win that one. So first run through has us going 6-11, which isn't crazy. I think that's kind of a relatively safe. Lost my voice there, ladies and gentlemen. Which is a relatively safe kind of predictor. It's not reaching too much. This is where I think is the most likely landing zone, right? Is that 6 win, 5, 6, 7 wins. You start flip-flopping games. Watch, like, let's just reset the whole thing. All right, so if we reset the entire thing, okay, we go to, did I do it? Reset it, all predictions. Okay, so if you reset the entire thing, let's just change a few things up. So let's say you lose to the Cardinals, you lose to the 49ers, you lose to the Bills, all right, the Seahawks, you lose to the Bills. Okay, you come back, beat the Giants, and you beat the Patriots. All right, you win a couple home games. All right, then you lose to Chicago, you lose to Tampa. All right, so this already sounds way worse. Like we're 2-7 at this point, right? 2-8. You lose to Carolina on the road. You have your bye week. Come out of the bye. You beat Atlanta at home. Divisional rivalry game at home. Lose to Miami. Then you lose to the Bucks again. So we're 3-10. So again, it's like, man, this is way, way worse. Okay, well then you have the Panthers at home. You win that one. You have the Jets at home. You're favored in that one. Let's say you have the Titans on the road. You win that one, and then you lose to the Falcons on the road. So even in that way, you're still in that, you're 6-11, right? You're still in that 6-11 kind of corridor. The reason I think that's the safest place to be in this, and like the most likely kind of situation, is because I'm giving you 3 wins. Or I'm giving you 2 wins with splits against the Panthers and the Falcons. And then the schedule is weak enough that you should be able to find some wins. Okay? If you just get rolled, if the Saints just get rolled on some of those games, like the Giants at home, if you lose to the Giants at home, Patriots at home, you lose to the Titans, you lose to the Jets at home, like you're the worst team in football. I mean, you are like bad. Think about how bad the Titans were last year. And the Titans didn't win one game. You know what I mean? Like they weren't a 1-16 team. And they were abysmal. All right, with Will Levis doing Will Levis things. So it's really hard to be in that 1 win, 2 win, 0 wins, 3 win kind of world. It's hard even to be 4 wins. You know, it's hard even. I mean, you saw what the Saints went through last year. They still find 5 wins. All right. So now let's do like a super best case scenario. Still realistic, but super best case. Super best case is you win one of the first 2 games. I'll give them Arizona. Then you lose. I think in every world you lose the Seattle and the Buffalo games. All right, and remember, I'm not. Best case is still we're trying to be realistic here. Week 5, all right, you win. Week 6, you win. Now, this is the best case. So you got home games against relatively weak opponents, or at least coin flip-ish games. All right, week 7, you are on the road to Chicago. I think you win that one. This is, again, realistic best case. You beat Tampa, you start splitting divisional games. So in the realistic best case, you split all the divisional games. Up until this point, I've had Tampa sweeping us. Week 9, you go on the road to the Rams. Rams, I think, win that 99 out of 100 times. Week 10, you lose to Carolina. I'm still, in a best case, I'm still going to give a split for the divisions. Sweeping divisional opponents is just too hard to bank on, unless they're really bad. Week 11 is your bye week. Come out of the bye week, you win divisional split at home against Atlanta. Week 13, now you're going on the road to play Miami. This is a coin flip, so I'll give us this one. Again, realistic best case. This one here, all right, we're on the road against Tampa. You lose this one, I think, virtually every time, especially in this like divisional split thing. Beat Carolina at home. All right. Jets at home, win that one, you're favored. 17, Titans. Week 18, you lose on the road to Atlanta. Okay, so super best case, like really pushing here. Did I give us beating Carolina on the road? I don't want to, let's see. Okay, this is with losing to Carolina on the road. All right. So super best case, like you win virtually every coin flip game. You split across the division. You do all that. I think best case scenario, you get 10 wins. Is how I see. Absolute best case scenario. Hit the ground running. Shough is the man, or Rattler is the man, or Decker is the man, whatever. Kellen Moore is the man. You're winning these coin flips. You're taking care of business at home, doing what you got to do. Let's see here. You're 10-7. Okay, you're 3-3 in the division. You're 6-6 in the conference. You're kind of making things happen. All right, now let's do realistic worst case. Okay, the reset is blowing my mind. I don't know why I can't get why I can't get that working. Okay, realistic worst case, you lose the first 4 games just like we did previously. Okay, so you go Seattle, Buffalo. Okay, week 5. I think you still win one of these 2 games. I think the Giants is probably the easiest to get, and then you lose New England. Okay, then week 7, Bears, you lose that. Week 8, Tampa at home, you lose that. Week 9, Rams, you lose that. Week 10, you're on the road to Carolina, you lose that. Then the bye week, week 12, you come back at home. Atlanta. Now remember, this is realistic worst case, okay? Probably lose that. Week 13, Dolphins, you lose that. You're 1-11 at this point. Like, you are beyond bad at this point, all right? Tampa on the road, you lose that. You're 1-12. Things are looking kind of rough here, right? Carolina at home, let's say you win that. Then you play the Jets at home, you win that. Tennessee on the road. Tennessee, we'll give them that. And then Atlanta on the road. Worst case, like bottom fell out, rock bottom, get the brown paper bags out. You know, I'm in the middle of Bourbon Street trying to just doing videos out in Jackson Square, trying to make a living. I think it's 3-14. So that's a big range, right? 3 wins, rock bottom. 10 wins, rock top. Somewhere in the middle there is the answer. It's never as bad as you think it is or as good as you think it is. And that's why I think 5, 6, 7 is more than likely where the Saints are going to land. Somewhere in there. Barring like huge steps taken forward. So I feel pretty comfortable, okay, if we do a full-on just reset. I feel pretty comfy with 6 wins. It's kind of where I'm where I'm hanging out. I feel pretty good. Now, I'm giving us the Cardinals game, but we could lose the Cardinals game, beat the Niners. Like some situation like that where the ends are really kind of the same. Like it doesn't matter which of the first 2 games you win, as long as you win one, it still works towards the total we're going to here. So then let's see. What did I give us? I'll give us we lose the New England one? Yeah, we lose the New England one. Let's see. Lose to Chicago, lose to Tampa. The early stretch is going to be the hard part because we're so young. Like we're so young and we're so new that's going to be the hard part of the season. That's where I think you're going to take some lumps. Where the team's just kind of figuring themselves out. They're just trying to figure out like the NFL. I mean, even like Kellen Moore is trying to figure out what being an NFL head coach looks like. So there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some lumps in there, which is understandable, I think. So if you can sneak a couple of those early games, you're feeling really good. Because I think as this season progresses, the team is just going to get better. The team is just going to be better and better and better. But if you can win, so I think 6-11 is like, if I was betting on the record, that's where I would land. Now, if you sneak some of these games, like I said, if you win both of your first 2 home games, if you win week 5 and 6, anything like that, or if you win these away games, like if you win at Chicago, if you win at Carolina, if you win at Miami, if you win at Tennessee, if you win at Atlanta, some of those games where it's way less of a coin flip, you're on the road, you're not supposed to win, we're not counting it, like all that makes a huge difference when you're in that 5, 6, 7 kind of world. So it is an easier schedule. It's just there's so much unknown that I think it's impossible to realistically look at this and say, this is 12 wins, this is 13 wins, this is 14 wins. That doesn't mean it can't happen. I'm obviously rooting for it. I'm rooting for 17-0, right? But it would be disingenuous if I came on here and said, no, we're going to win every home game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to win every home game. We're going to beat these teams on the road, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then all of a sudden we're 12 wins. It's like, I don't think it's the coverage y'all come to this channel for. So I think 6 makes sense. I could see 7. Anything above 7 might as well be the Super Bowl. I could see as low as 3, but that's if there's some real issues. I think 5 is like a pseudo floor because I think we'll be better at certain areas than people believe. Like they just said on that video, like I don't think our roster is that bad. Like if you look at safety, like Justin Reed and Tyrann Mathieu, that's okay. You look at our cornerbacks, Alante and Kool-Aid and Riley and even Yadam and like, okay, is it the best thing in the world? No, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Defensive line, it's just the same cast of characters from last year, like Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Brian Brzee, even just those 3, not that bad, right? Linebackers, Studsman, Davis, Werner, like, is that the best linebacker room in the world? It's not the 2000 Ravens, but it's not that bad. Offensive line, I think it'll be pretty good. McCoy, one of the best centers. Tulisi Fuaga was fine last year. We assume he'll take a step forward with Banks. If he's what Fuaga was last year, that's a pretty decent offensive line. Running back, Alvin Kamara, is he the best running back in the NFL? No, but he certainly isn't bad. And last year, he was on his way to 1,000 yards. All right, again, if they're healthy, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, best thing you've ever seen? No, but could be a lot worse. Just ask Robert Woods, right? And then tight ends, Juwan Johnson. Again, worst thing in the world? No. So I think the roster itself is middle of the road. I think average. Now, quarterback and head coach can really swing a season, right? So if Shough, Rattler, Deckers are horrible and we have a Bryce Young, his rookie season, or Will Levis type situation, then yeah, put your hands up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. But if any of them are good or any of them are a rookie of the year type player, I know Rattler can't win rookie of the year, but still that kind of player where you jump in immediately, you're good for the entire season, CJ Stroud or Jaden Daniels or something like that. Daniels is a lot. Daniels was almost an MVP. But if you're just proficient your rookie season, this Saints team, I think that's how you get to all of a sudden now it's like 6, 7, 8 wins, right? And then you just keep on going up, and all of a sudden you're favored at home against the Panthers, you're favored at home against the Jets and the Patriots and the Giants, and the season outlook looks a whole lot different. So, if we look at the odds, we did this before, but a lot of these games are coin flips. Like any game that's under 3, a spread of 3, I think is inherently a coin flip. I mean, it's a, field goal game. So anything under 3, you got a real shot, just like percentage wise. And a lot of these are. A lot of these are 3-point games or less. So it's going to be a very volatile season. Every single game is important. When you're in that middle to bottom tier of teams, the difference between 5 wins and 7 wins is absolutely massive. All right, so every single game is going to matter. But my official, as of right now, and this will change because once we see Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler and all these guys, and we see the team, we see Kellen Moore's offense, we see preseason games, we see training camp, we hear reports, this will absolutely change. But the first go at it, I'm pretty comfortable with 6 wins. Pretty comfortable in that territory. That's where I'd be looking. But we'll do this a lot. We're going to update this. We're going to keep kind of going through this. Let me know what you think. What are you predicting? Are you predicting, what kind of a record are you seeing? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.